Recently I made a video about Taboo Conspiracy. There I mentioned a video of an alleged person claiming to have served in the Canadian Navy. The video has Taboo deleted after a short time on his channel. Thanks to Jaime Vives Piqueres, I found it. So let's go!
Hello everyone. Today I will be sharing an audio presentation by an individual who goes by the initials TP. TP is currently a lawyer, but he also served in the Royal Canadian Navy. He has some fascinating information to share about his professional experiences with radar and navigation in the Navy, but I think you'll simply enjoy hearing from a well-educated, genuine person who has simply awakened to the fact that the globe does not hold up to observations and scrutiny.
Okay, a genuine and well-educated person. Sounds like Taboo thinks he's very credible. But why did he delete the video without making any comments about it? What is it in this video that Taboo doesn't want us to hear? Or is the fact that he tries to hide the fact that he's once again have been fooled? Let's hear a bit from this video and this alleged Navy man from Canada.
I was born in the United Kingdom in 1969 and have lived in Canada most of my life. I'm married for 23 years and have 2 adult daughters. I was born and raised a Hindu by force, lived decades as a venomous and mocking atheist, slid into agnosticism for many more years, and within the past few years developed an extremely close relationship to my Creator and God.
Is it important that he has become a Christian? I'm not a Christian, but I respect the faith of others. But I have a very hard time for those who try to deny science with the help of religion. Even the Vatican has scientists. They have their own observatories and conduct research. The Pope's summer residence have an observatory at the roof.
Let me start by saying that when I talk about curvature, as in the Earth's curvature, I'm referring to curvature in a globe sense, as opposed to radial planar curvature, which is consistent with flat and globe models of Earth. Think east to west circumnavigation, which can be done both on flat paper as well as on a globe or ball.
What nonsense. Circumnavigate on a flat Earth. There are no working flat Earth maps. And one thing more. The charts he used in the Navy are projections of a globe.
I have no idea if the Earth is truly flat or not, and I doubt I'll ever actually know. That stated, my own observations do not support and are not consistent with an observable Earth curvature in a globe sense. If the Earth does have curvature in the globe sense, the Earth is probably much larger than the accepted mathematics dictates, but again, I don't know.
So incredibly stupid. Why shouldn't we know how big the Earth is? Or does he deny that ships sailed around the world and that airplanes have flown around the globe? You can also use simple means to calculate how big the Earth is.
During my life, I was also blessed to serve in the Canadian Navy for 6 years. I was a junior officer, and so in the United States Navy, the equivalent ranks would be ensign, lieutenant junior grade, and I was trained in the bridge watchkeeping trade. A bridge watchkeeper oversees the entire ship while sailing on behalf of the captain. Responsibilities include navigation, conning, anchoring, vessel boarding, and overseeing emergency responses, such as fire, floods, and man overboard. Bearing in mind this was more than 20 years ago, I was on what was then called minesweepers, and they were classified as minor war vessels.
Here we got to see the Canadian minesweeper Miramichi, who was decommissioned in 1988. That was before he was in the Navy. But it may be Taboo who chosen the image.
The bottom line was that if anything happened during the watch in terms of the ship running aground or being improperly placed into danger, it would be the captain and the bridge watchkeeper who would go to the brig. It's this naval experience of mine that relates to the flat earth question. Please remember all of these things happened 20 years ago, so I'll do my best to accurately recall what I can remember. It is always possible the testimony of others will conflict with my experience. You also have to remember that prior to my naval experience, I was a city-based landlubber, and I was not well suited to the true naval lifestyle. I sailed in and swam in both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It was somewhat discombobulating for me when we were out at deep sea, which for me was at distances of approximately 250 miles from land. I don't know why I remember such a strange marker or number like that, but to my best recollection, that's roughly how far away from land I sailed at my maximum, meaning 250 miles. I remember being on the bridge and looking around and thinking that it was the first time in my life I could look in every direction and not actually see land with my eye. Sometimes I could make out rough, hazy shapes using binoculars, but I confess I can't be sure of what I saw, if anything. It made me feel weird, and no, I did not per se even notice that the horizon was flat in a 360-degree direction. What I mean is, the horizon was apparently flat, but I failed to note then, or appreciate then, that the horizon was apparently flat, and I could access a 360-degree view by walking around to different places on the bridge and upper deck.
Does not prove that the Earth is flat. It just proves that you do not understand how big the Earth is.
Back then, we used paper charts, and there was always a chart on the charting table, no matter where we were sailing. All of our charts, of course, always had at least one land point as a reference. I've never seen a chart that is all blue and indicating nothing but water. As junior officers, we were responsible for what is termed visual and blind navigation. Visual navigation refers to using a gyro compass on the bridge and visually measuring bearings based on landmarks, etc. Blind navigation refers to the fact that for whatever reason, you cannot rely solely on your visual sense. For example, you're too far away from land to see, or it's nighttime, or it's foggy, and so you have to use aids like radar. Trying to estimate for the height of the ship, I would have guessed that our radar reflector was probably not more than 100 feet from water level.
And then we once again get to see a ship that he could not possibly have been sailing on.
Again, that's a very rough guess based only on my memory, and I can't attest to the specifics. I'm just trying to offer a rough visual. Going back to my experience about feeling discombobulated when I would look around and not see land, I would often comfort myself by going over to the radar and looking at the picture. Again, I never thought of flat Earth or global curvature or anything like this back then. I assumed everything I was told was true and that the Earth is a globe. Anyway, I remember seeing our radar screen paint land bits, islands and islets, from as far away as at least 100 miles. Honestly, I remember painting land farther away than that, but to try to account for time past and my memory, I'll put it at the lower end of 100 miles. However, realistically, my memory strongly favors seeing land painted on radar well in excess of 100 miles, by which I mean the 150 to 200 mile range.
No, it's not possible to get that range on a radar on that ship. It's completely without any form of evidence. I made a video earlier about that radar kills, where I address how fighter jets take advantage of the limitation of ships' radars. Thanks to that, the British lost the ship during the Falkland War. I will link that video in my description. It's necessary to know the range of the radar on a ship. With the radar you can measure how far it is to an island, another ship, with great accuracy. A radar has a limited range due to the curvature of the Earth. The same applies to the radio systems on a ship. That this is the case is proven by where the radar and radio antennas are placed. They are always at the highest point on the ship.
The thing is, most of these little islands and islets weren't exactly significant in elevation either. They were, relatively speaking, small chunks of land rock out in the middle of the water, with some trees, some with nothing more than rocks and sand. These islets and islands did not have skyscrapers on them. They were all, or mostly, as I recall, uninhabited. Undoubtedly, some of them had hills and I figure maybe even trees as high as 100 feet. Regardless, it's my memory recall and my belief that we were painting land on our radar screen at distances well in excess of 100 miles. The established mathematics, meaning the Earth curvature formula, suggests I shouldn't have been able to see these islets painted on radar unless these islets had elevations of a few thousand feet. I can only tell you that I truly believe I did see these islets painted on radar at distances of 150 miles or more, and these weren't exactly mountains popping out of the ocean. I leave the conclusion to others, and people are welcome to challenge my observation. My observations aren't infallible. I can tell you only what I believe I remember. And frankly, this specific naval memory didn't come to mind until probably some months after stumbling onto flat Earth research. This memory was otherwise dormant or lost for 2 decades. I don't think flat Earth is some big conspiracy where naval officers are standing around and discussing how they can hide the truth about the Earth's shape. I think the reality of it is that we just never thought of these things, and most people navigating ships don't think about the Earth's curvature in the globe sense. In planning our navigation passages, we never accounted for the Earth's rotation or global curvature.
If you're trained to navigate a large ship, then you are also trained in how to circumnavigate. If you make shorter trips, you do not need to take into account the curvature of the Earth.
We planned our passages off of flat charts with a Mercator projection.
A map projection that you don't use in the Arctic or in the southern parts of the world. And last I checked, Canada have a big territory in the Arctic parts of the world. So you must have had other charts than that map projections. On a flat pizza world, you wouldn't need different map projections depending on how close to the poles you are. But in the reality, ships have different types of or different map projections if they are close to the poles.
Which is not inconsistent with a flat surface Earth if the North Pole counts as the radial center. And we attempted to sail in straight tracks. We were required to calculate astronomics for wherever we may have been, based on latitude and longitude alone, using the Farmer's Almanac. We were responsible for calculating sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, and other times and values.
So you were calculating sunset and sunrise, and moonset and moonrise. Why? On a flat Earth? Where do the sun disappear at night?
None of those calculations ever required us to account for either of Earth's global curvature or rotation, and all of our calculations were very accurate, typically within 1 minute or less.
How can you calculate so exact if the sunset is an illusion?
The only unknown or uncontrollable variable we used to run into was called set and drift, which is how much we were being pushed off course by sea currents. Set and drift are always changing values, random in appearance, based on sea current, and have no known accurate predictor.
It's nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. This whole video is just a bunch of lies without any proofs. This was the video that Taboo does not want us to see. Why doesn't he want us to see it? It contains as little evidence and much lies as most of his videos. Or is it that he has realized that he has been deceived? What do you think? We all know that the Qantas pilot was fake. The Qantas pilot Steve left a message on the last video. You can read it here or in the comment section of the last video. But he revealed that Wolfie warned Taboo that he would ask a friend to present himself as a flat Earth pilot. And Taboo deleted this message, and he posted the Qantas pilot's lies without checking any facts. Is Jake a real person who talks about the ballistic missile systems? I've debunked that video, so I'm sure that Jake is not a real person. Several had debunked the retired F-16 pilot. He must be fake. And now we have this Canadian who mysteriously disappeared from Taboo Conspiracy's playlist. Strange. I think all of this proves that Taboo Conspiracy is a big clown. He's a liar, deceiver, and he have no interest in the truth. What do you think? I hope you liked the video. Please, if you want, support the channel by Patreon, buy me a cup of coffee, or buy some merch in my shop. Okay, until next time, see ya, bye.